So we've come back to the channel with predictions and we've already gone up 100 subscribers. I really appreciate that. If you are new around here and want to see prediction videos and maybe other football content, then please do subscribe down below. Let's try and reach 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Going on into future weeks, I will shout out people that get good predictions down in the comments below. I don't have a comment this week, but I'm currently suffering from a really bad ear infection. I'm drugged up really a lot right now. So I'm just going to try and smash out this recording and then go back to bed. But I tell you what, we didn't do too bad. We had 3 perfect scores last week. That was West Ham to beat Leeds 2-1, Everton to beat Norwich 2-0. I think that was probably one of the most likely outcomes ever. Like, genuinely, Everton 2-0 was just always going to happen. And Wolves to beat Southampton 1-0. I was very proud of that. Having watched Wolves for the last couple of weeks, it was almost as though my research determined that prediction, and it was exactly correct. Not to mention, as well as that, yesterday's 8 PM kickoffs in the Champions League, I had 4 perfect scores. Salzburg 2-1, Wolfsburg Sevilla 1-1, Man United Villarreal 2-1, even though I thought Villarreal were phenomenal that game for 80 plus minutes of that game, and Bayern Munich to win 5-0 with Lewandowski and Gnabry both to score. So killing it with the predictions. Let's move on to week 7 of the Premier League. So drop a like, leave your predictions down in the comments below, subscribe if you haven't already, because I do know that the majority of you watching this video aren't subscribed because it's pretty easy to forget. But anyway, kicking it off, we have Manchester United up against Everton. Man United, the great escape, Cristiano Ronaldo with a bit of individual brilliance to score the late winner deep into Fergie time against Villarreal to make it 2-1. I can see a very similar sort of game happening here. Manchester United, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win against Everton. However, it's an early kickoff. It's always a bit dodgy, so I'm not going to tip anything to do with goals, anything to do with the result, anything like that. I'm going to tip there to be a penalty in the match for odds of 2.75. Doesn't have to go in. If anything, you could bet on Man United to miss a penalty at odds of 15 if that floats your boat. But I'm going to go for the 2-1 win to Man United. This could be a 0-0. It could be a 5-0. It could be literally anything. You never know. So I'm going to go for a 2-1, but the tip is going to be a penalty in the match. Now, after this, we have Burnley up against Norwich. It's a proper relegation battle. 6-pointer fixture, this one. And I am going to give it to Burnley. I think Norwich have looked okay in like 15-minute spells in games, but that is not enough to get you the win. Burnley have looked better overall than Norwich this season, despite their fairly poor start by all things considered, and it is at Turf Moor, typically a tough place to go. I was going to go for a 1-0 win to Burnley, but after their performance against Leicester, I'm going to give them a little bit more breathing room. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Burnley, and my tip is Burnley to win at 1.85. I think the value there is pretty good. Norwich could come out and do something here. They could get a goal, but I'm going to go for a Burnley win in this one. Next up, we have Chelsea up against Southampton. Chelsea coming off the back of a loss to Juventus in the Champions League. I don't think they'll sweat it too hard, and they were absolutely dominated by Manchester City. I think it was the first time Chelsea didn't register a shot on target in a Premier League match, either at home or ever. Absolutely unreal. I'm going to go for a simple, keep it simple, low scoring Chelsea 2-0 win against Southampton here. My tip is going to be Chelsea win and under 3.5 goals at 2.05. That allows for a fairly convincing 3-0 win, a 2-1 win, 2-0, 1-0, anything like that. And I think that is going to happen. I know Southampton are somewhat of a draw specialist at the moment, and they've taken draws from Manchester City and Man United, but given the little bump in the road Chelsea have had in the last week, I think they're going to go back to winning ways here at Stamford Bridge with a 2-0 win. After that, we have Leeds up against Watford. Leeds games always exciting, but they've not got off to the start that they would have liked. Watford have picked up a few points here and there, so not a bad start for them. They'll definitely be working their hardest to try and avoid relegation. However, I think this is the time that Leeds get a win at Ellen Road. I think they've created enough chances in the games they've played. They've not been clinical enough with those chances. They are still going to concede at the back, I do think. However, I'm going to go for them to score a couple more. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 home win to Leeds. I've actually backed Leeds to be the highest scoring team of the weekend, and my tip is going to be Leeds win and over 1.5 goals at 2.05, because if Leeds beat Watford, it's not going to be 1-0, and that's the only outcome that's omitted by adding over 1.5 goals, and just to add a spicy little bit of value in for you there. After that, we have Wolves up against Newcastle. Newcastle, it's not gelling for them really at the moment, and Wolves are finally starting to find their form. We even said when they were losing all their games at the start of the season, they were playing well. They just weren't finishing their chances. There were a lot of crosses that were over here, everything like that. But I do think Wolves, with Jimenez getting on the score sheet finally after nearly a year since his injury, I think they're going to continue to click here at Molineux. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Wolves, and my tip is Wolves to win at 1.66. Coming up now, we have Brighton up against Arsenal at the MX Stadium. Brighton rescued a point late on against Crystal Palace, and Arsenal absolutely dismantled Tottenham. As you can see, I am smiling, and I thought they put in a fantastic performance. Their second half performance wasn't amazing, but it didn't have to be. The game was won. This is going to be a very, very difficult one to predict, and going to the Amex is not an easy place to go. Brighton have, of course, been in brilliant form. However, I'm going to back Arsenal just because of the value. I think it's really, really good, and Arsenal really are on a winning run. Brighton, they were fortunate to get that draw against Crystal Palace. I'm going to go for 1-0 to the Arsenal, and I was tempted to tip Arsenal to win outright with value of like 2.3, which is outrageous, but just to play it a little bit safe, because this could easily be a draw. I don't see Brighton winning, if I'm honest. My tip is going to be Arsenal draw no bet at 1.72. I mean, that's pretty good. A draw, you keep your money. A win, you get some pretty good value there with the protection of the draw no bet. So I think that's very, very good. After that, we have Crystal Palace up against Leicester. This is going to be a very, very difficult one to predict. I'm finally going to predict Leicester to come good and get a win. However, it's not going to be convincing. I do like what Crystal Palace are doing, and I do think they're going to at least score. So I'm going to go for a Leicester 2-1 win, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.75. I think the value is great there, and there's absolutely no need to go anywhere near the result market in this game. I think Leicester should win, but I could see Palace winning this 3-1 if they turn up like they did against Tottenham. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and go with both teams to score instead. Obviously, knowing my luck, it will just be a Leicester 2-0 win now that I've said that. But moving on, we have Tottenham up against Aston Villa. Aston Villa getting a great win against Manchester United, and Tottenham, as I said earlier, getting dismantled in the North London derby. Harry Kane looks like a ghost of his former self. There was I mean, he completely cost Tottenham the third goal. He lost the ball in possession up the field, tried to track back and make amends, slid in and still gave the ball back to Saka, who then scored. So he gave away possession and failed to stop the goal, and everything went wrong. He didn't look angry with himself. He didn't look annoyed. He didn't look up for it. He looked like his head was in the clouds elsewhere. Aston Villa this season have looked very, very good. I was very tempted to go for an Aston Villa win. However, I don't think it's going to be that dire for Tottenham, pardon the pun. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.75 because I don't see Tottenham drawing a blank here. That's the weirdest part. With both teams to score, the one thing that was making me consider whether or not to put this tip was if Tottenham would score. I genuinely think Aston Villa will have no problem scoring. Similar to how I tipped both teams to score Man United, Aston Villa, I had no problems thinking Villa would score. And if Man United didn't miss the penalty, that tip would have also come in. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw and both teams to score at 1.75. After that, we have West Ham up against Brentford. Brentford, a cracking 3-3 draw against Liverpool. Yes, that game could have ended differently had Liverpool taken their chances, but Brentford hung in there. They took their chances and they managed to get a draw from Liverpool, which is a phenomenal result. West Ham absolutely flying, got the late winner from who else but Antonio. I did predict that in the last video, exactly that, to be honest, and I do think both teams are going to score here. I think it's going to be fairly high scoring. I'm going to go for a West Ham 2-1 win, but again, as we saw with Brentford, it can be difficult to predict the results sometimes, so I'm going to go for the 2-1 win to West Ham, but my tip is over 2.5 goals at 1.9. I think those odds are brilliant for the over market, so I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals. Now, after that, we have the biggest game of the week, without a doubt. It's Liverpool up against Manchester City. Liverpool obviously drew with Brentford 3-3, then absolutely smashed Porto 5-1. Man City put in an unreal performance against Chelsea, winning 1-0, and then lost to Paris Saint-Germain 2-0 in the Champions League. To be fair, I don't know how Bernardo Silva doesn't make it 1-1 after Raheem Sterling's header hits the bar. It does ricochet off Donnarumma a little bit, but still, I could have scored that. You could have scored that, and someone of Bernardo Silva's quality should have scored that. And I think the game definitely could have been different had City equalised then, but then Lionel Messi links up with Mbappe and puts in a fantastic goal to make it 2-0. I do think, to be fair, for the good of the knockout stages and the good of the Champions League, I think it'd be better if PSG topped the group and City finished second. So I was happy with that result. However, this is a very tricky one. Liverpool look like the Liverpool of a couple of years ago. You know, the team that got 99 points. They look unreal. And Man City don't quite look like the team that got 100 points in that same season. So this is going to be very difficult to predict. I'm not going to underestimate Manchester City. However, it's at Anfield, and to be fair, if I had to pick a winner, I would go with Liverpool. And the odds are Man City are going to win. Man City are the slim favourites in this game. I can't separate the two teams. I think Liverpool's attack is so good. Salah is absolutely unreal. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think this is a situation where neither manager will want to lose. And I could see Liverpool winning this. I could see Man City winning this. And that's why this is so difficult. I'm going to go for the 1-1 draw. And my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.57, because I think this could be similar to the Chelsea-Man City game in terms of being low scoring. But I do think Liverpool will get a goal at Anfield. They just will. And Manchester City, they're going to try and get a goal. I don't see Man City scoring too many, but I do think one. So I'm going to go for the 1-1 draw. So that is going to do it for the Premier League predictions. I will probably be taking a break from the channel for the international break and not doing predictions there, because Champions League is over, Premier League will be over for a week, and I do still need to recover from this ear infection. It's absolutely horrible. But thank you so much for the warm welcome, the return, the new subscribers. I love you all. Drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.